Woo! The power has been with you all along. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, this is Trey Michael.
And this is Starla Michael.
And this is another segment of Applied Consciousness. Woo woo! Hey, you guys and ladies. Today we're going to talk about a topic that we have not done on our podcast channel yet. But we told our YouTube followers that we were going to begin to speak about a thing that me and my wife went through for years. We went through it probably 3.5 years. And this topic is called targeted individual. Now, first, before I get into it, for those that have experienced this being targeted, I want to say this to those that have the ears to hear and the eyes to see. Targeted individual is an individual who is going through things that the world perceives as crazy, right?
That's right.
It's because we as human beings label things crazy because we have not experienced it. No different than a person that says, hey, I'm going to create an electrical vehicle that's not ran on gas. A long time ago, we would have considered that crazy. But now Tesla has showed us differently. Before, there was a time that human beings, two brothers, said that they were going to fly. And they were actually put into a mental institution because the world believed that was insane. Those two brothers are known as the Wright brothers, and they are the fathers of aviation. And they're the reason that we can fly from Savannah, Georgia to anywhere on the planet.
Not too crazy.
Not too crazy, right? Now, the topic that we want to talk about in this targeted individual segment, it actually came from a follower of ours who is a blessed soul. Her name is Miss
Renee.
Miss Renee. And Miss Renee was asking us on our YouTube channel, Applied Consciousness, to talk about how me and my wife, were able to stick together during this targeted individual or this gangstalking, as we call it. How did we stick together during this experience? And
because she was saying most couples, they don't stick together. One believes the other one is crazy. They want to leave them. They do leave them. You know, they just don't understand your experience of being a targeted individual. So that's what this topic is going to be explained for that reasoning. Correct.
Because to be honest, to those that are experiencing being a targeted individual or TI, when it began in me and my wife's life, it actually began with me. I was going through what I know now as a great awakening. I was waking up to see the truth, or to see what's behind the veil. And during this time, before the stalking began, I began to see numbers. And I remember going back to my wife. I know you remember, Starla, telling her that I see 111, 222, all of these numbers.
These numbers everywhere we go.
And during that time, I'm not going to go deep into it. I was dealing with a lawsuit against a company, and that's when it began. Now, during this time, I would tell my wife every single day that these people were following me. That they were at every gas station, that they were at every store. And I'll let my wife tell you from her perspective of what she was thinking, how she felt, so that if you are the TI, you can know what the other person is thinking when this is happening. Now, before my wife gets into it, I want to go ahead and touch on some stuff that I've seen thousands and thousands of comments about what their perception was to their significant other or their friend or their family member when they were being targeted and their friends and family member not accepting what they were saying.
That's right, and it is friends and family. It's not just your significant other, it's friends
and family. Correct. And a lot of those people get to the belief that their friends or family and significant other is a part of this, what we call program, of this being gang stalked or being a targeted individual. And the truth is, those thoughts even went through my mind for a while, until the truth revealed itself. And what I came to an understanding is that human beings are programmed. They're programmed to live in a repetitive cycle of their regular norms. And whenever someone tries to jolt a human being from their norms, their brain shuts off, and it's not allowing it to be able to see what you, whose brain is back active or awakened, what they're seeing, what they're hearing, and they can't perceive or view what you're seeing. But that's hindsight. That's something that I learned after beating the system.
That's right.
But I just wanted to share that with you, and I'm going to go ahead and pass this on to Miss Michaels, and she's going to give you her experience of what she was thinking when I was saying these things to her.
Okay, first of all, I did not believe him. For like a whole year, I did not believe him. I could not see this stalking. Everywhere we went, he was pointing out the stalkers, and I was like, how do you know that's them? And you know, there's no way that you can prove that they're here for you. What make you special? You know, it was just like I thought he was going crazy. I was trying to figure out, was he on drugs? I know I was talking to his mom, like, can you help me? He's going crazy. He's talking about these numbers. I just didn't believe him. I couldn't see it. I couldn't.
And now looking back, Miss Michael, you tell me what you know why you couldn't see it. Could you tell me in your words why?
I was still asleep. He was on his journey. He started his journey, his spiritual journey, realizing the truth about this world. That, you know, collective consciousness. He was on his journey. He was changing, going out to the club, changing, wasn't drinking, wasn't doing drugs, just changing his whole lifestyle. I mean, it seems to me like he was leaving me, because I was still wanting to do those things.
Gotcha.
And you were focused on that, and I was like, can we just go out? You know, I want the old Trey back, because I was stuck here, and I felt like you were leaving me.
So basically, and I know me and you've had this talk forever. It seems like it's weird us saying this on the video, but that's my experience as well. That when I know you guys and ladies are probably thinking that you're being targeted. I know CIA, government, and all these things. Although the truth is, none of us know what these things are.
Correct.
I have a great idea of what it is. I believe that there are groups of beings, and I'm saying beings by human beings, extraterrestrial beings, government beings, racist beings, all type of beings that collectively wanted to stop our growth, stop us from leaving what we call the matrix, or the regular world,
the matrix,
right? The world that you have to have racism, the world that has got to be about me and my family, or my wealth and my money. See, when you continuously live in that cycle, no one's coming for you. They are happy
right where you're supposed to be.
Where you're supposed to be. But there were things that were occurring in my life that I believe triggered this event. And what I did that's different than a lot of people that I've spoken with, me, and I'm speaking of me because I was the first one to go through it, was that regardless of what people believed of me, I refused to deny my truth. And I know I see so many posts, people saying, don't tell people about what you're experiencing. And I realized, and again, this is hindsight, that it wasn't what I was saying to the people. It was actually how I was saying it to the people.
Because you look like a crazy person.
Because I looked like a crazy person being very frantic.
It was new to you.
It was new. And I was trying to figure it out. And the worst thing that I remember doing was trying to go into the internet to find out what it was. And you found out about MK Ultras, and you found out about the CIA programs and all of these things. But you have to remember, these are not hard facts. These are perceptions of someone else's reality.
Correct.
But what I began to do was just to focus on myself and to continue to be my best self. And the strangest thing happened. My wife one day, because she's thinking I'm crazy, she comes outside because she's now thinking that it must be that I'm trying to throw her off. You know, he's not seeing these numbers. These people are not following him. He's trying to throw me off. It must be another woman, right? And that was a part of the 3D matrix. But because I held my truth and I raised my frequency.
You held on to it.
I held on to it.
Even when I said I was going to leave him, I was like, I'm going to get a divorce. I feel like you just way out there. You're losing it. I was going to get a divorce. Really would.
And what ended up happening was I didn't allow that to change my truth.
He held strong.
And the weirdest thing happened. My wife goes outside and she puts on one of my little hoodies because she's trying to catch whoever this girl is that she's assuming is outside when I'm going fishing every day and speaking to my higher self. And when she goes outside to throw the pole, I'll let her tell it.
Yep. I'm sorry. Speaking louder. I was sitting on the ground after I went outside and sat down, and I was just waiting to see what would I see, who's out here. And a guy walked by with a blue jacket on. I never forget it. I was so upset, just so upset about my situation, stuck on self. That was now hindsight 2020. That's what it was. I was so stuck on myself, my reality. But anyways, I saw a guy walk by with a blue jacket on, and on the back of the blue jacket it was 111. I was like, that's those numbers he's talking about. I see them, 111. That was my first number, and that's when I knew that. He had already told me that 111 it means creating. I knew that I was creating this illusion in my world that he was cheating or whatever, and that he was crazy. I knew that I was creating it, but that's the first time.
And it was funny because I always told her that in the process of waking up, one of the first things that I witnessed was the number 111.
Yep, 111.
And I looked at 111 and I felt within my consciousness that was telling me I was at the beginning or the starting road to my journey.
Right.
To my journey of enlightenment, to my journey of being my best version in this reality. And I'll never forget when she ran in the house and she said, Trey, you might not be crazy. And I looked at her, you guys, and this has been a whole year going on. I remember I'm the crazy guy, I'm being labeled, people are not wanting to speak to me. And
I'm still wanting to throw barbecues, like people over. We're getting stalked. I didn't even know it. Couldn't see it.
And I remember when she said that she saw the numbers, I thought she was, playing with me. She was just messing with me. But as time went, not only did she begin to see the numbers when she woke up, 111 when she used in the restroom, 111 on the back of a tag, 333, 222, and then it began for her.
Right.
And
I started noticing. The first time was at my job. I was a nurse. I was working home health, and every time I went, I would see people out there sitting in their cars with the lights on. But I'm thinking, this is just people sitting in their cars. Now that I'm aware of it, I realized they were there for me. They were stalking me. They were out there when I come out of my job, they were out there flashing lights. Even had my car towed one time because it didn't have a parking sticker, so they had my car towed.
Yeah. And then she began to experience some of the things that I was experiencing for a year. And
I could see it then, finally.
Yeah, she could finally see it.
It's like once I accepted it, that it's real, then I could see it.
And now, I want to give you this perception. Okay? I want to give you our truth. Now, me and my wife try our best not to give it to you whole, because you may still be experiencing it. And I want to go deeper, and I can't wait till I get the group of people that have passed this so they can co-sign what we're saying. Now that we overstand that experience, and we no longer experience this, they wouldn't pay to come to make us go higher. We realize that they were a tool used by the universe or God or source or energy. God was using that tool to propel us upward.
That's right.
It's like a rocket.
That's crazy.
A rocket doesn't propel its engines to go in the upward direction. It propels its engines to push downward, which propels the rocket itself upward. And this dark night of the soul, this gang stalking experience, when we accepted it, when we embraced the challenge,
That's right.
when we understood then that this was our journey and this was our path and nothing was going to stray us from it, and love would be the key,
That's right.
and vibrations of higher consciousness or being our best version was our only objective in life.
It was.
And then 3.5 years later, it disappears. And when it disappears and the smoke clears, we are better than we have ever been in our existence. Our marriage is better. Our financials are better.
Yes.
Our children are better. Our relationship, our bond is better.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, and I'm going to say this, even though you're not going to understand it at this time, you being a TI is a blessing, not a curse.
We changed it from TI to PI.
Yeah.
Powerful individual.
Say that one more time.
It's not TI, it's a PI.
PI.
A powerful
individual. Because you start off as a TI. But if you truly, not faking it, you can't fake the universe, you can't trick it, you can't put a fake smile on and think that this is reality. When you realize that you have the power, when you realize that there is no entity, no being, no government greater than the hand that wrote the entire galaxies and universes, that's when you will level yourself up and realize that you are not a TI, but a PI,
That's right.
a powerful individual, more powerful than you can fathom in your thoughts.
And another thing that made me realize that what was going on with Trey when he was being stalked before I realized that I was also being stalked was that I had to judge the tree by the fruit. He was changing so much with, becoming his best self, changing different things. And I said, well, all of this stuff that he's changing is good. So why am I fighting it so much? Why am I fighting what's good? So I had to wake up basically and say he has good fruit, so I'm gonna follow him. And that's what I did, and everything worked out together.
And I'm glad you said that, Starla, because I was going to end this, but I do want to touch on this topic. The truth, you all, is that the people who reject that truth, that this world is way more complex than what we believe. There are beings and entities and government officials that are doing things that the public has no knowledge of. The reason that they fight you so badly is because the program or the pill that placed humanity to sleep is so potent that it has a clause in it. And the clause in the program is that anything that attempts to jolt the human's brain to wake up must be rejected. It's like code inside of a computer system, and each person, which is the hardware, holds that code in. It's a defined method that's programmed into the human being to keep them asleep by rejecting the truth. See, this process has happened to me more than just with my wife.
That's true.
I've had friends that begin to watch my growth, and the more that I would speak or show my positive vibes, my higher frequency, they would hate me more. I mean, they would literally hate the guy that was helping them pay their bills. They were literally hating the guy that would not, for any amount of money in the world, try to mess with their wives. But they would love those that were actually trying to mess with their wives. They would actually love those that were trying to harm them. And again, this is all stuff that you're going to learn in time. It's all a part of this matrix program. It's to keep humanity at a low vibration so that their technology, so that their control can only keep you grounded if you're tuned into their frequency. Let me say that one more time. The way that they use the technology to put thoughts into the minds, oh yeah, we know about that.
That's true.
The way that they use technology to hinder you, the way that they have this system to track you, they can only use this as long as you free willingly keep your frequency or your radio station tuned into theirs. Then you are consenting to them being able to manipulate and control you. See, but there's a truth that you must understand. All things are frequency, vibrations, and energy. See, you understand this in the simple form when you are listening to this podcast right now. See, you're hearing this podcast because when you clicked on this channel, your frequency was connected to the exact frequency of this podcast, which gave you the ability to now hear what I am saying, what my wife is saying. But if you were to change that frequency just by an inch away from it, you could no longer even perceive, or this podcast would not be in your reality.
That's true.
That same process works with being a TI or gangstalking. They want you to stay angry, mad, bitter, because those are lower frequencies. That's why they harass you 24 hours, because they know that the second your frequency raises above their station, they can no longer use their technology, which is taking knowledge.
That's right.
They can no longer use their systems of tracking, because you are no longer in tune with that frequency. So the whole process is to love thy neighbor. See, the Bible as thyself. Your neighbor it's easy to love someone that loves you, but can you love that guy and that woman that's following you?
Right.
Can you love that white car that keeps telling?
All of that helps raise your frequency and get off their station.
Off their station. Now, what we're saying is a truth.
It's true. It's so true. It sounds simple, but it is true.
And it doesn't happen overnight.
It doesn't.
Because remember, when you plant a seed in the soil, an apple seed, you're not going to wake up in the morning and eat apples. The seed has not sprouted. It has not grown into a full-grown tree to produce the apples. But if you endure the process and continue to water the plant, continue to fertilize the soil, continue to walk in your truth of love and higher vibrations, I promise you, by the time you hold your head up, your tree will be fully grown, and your experience will now be that you are a powerful individual. We just want to share this with you guys. This will not be our last podcast about being a targeted individual. We want you, ladies and gentlemen, to tune in. Let me tell you why. Because here on this channel, we're going to keep speaking, talking, showing videos on our YouTube channel about positivity and love, which helps you focus your attention off of the harassment onto the track of higher consciousness. You all are more powerful than you ever can dream of. This is why they follow you. This is why they harass you. The only one that doesn't know that yet is you. Hey, like we always say, live, love, and laugh. And
namaste.
Namaste. Namaste.
Peace, everybody.
Hey, if this is your first time on this Anchor podcast, click the star button and it'll notify you when we are posting new podcasts so that you can help yourself level up. Also, if you are one of our podcast people and you've never tuned into our YouTube is Applied Consciousness. It's the Applied Consciousness YouTube, and the podcast is called Applied Consciousness as well. Please tune in, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and stick with us. We are going in the upward direction, and there is nothing within this universe or this multiverse that will ever stop this progress. We may fall, but we'll get back up. And we would love for you all to join us on this expedition to higher consciousness. We would love for you all to tune in and stick with us and help us raise humanity's frequency and vibration. And also, if you want to be a Patreon to this channel, you can also go, and I can't remember how to get there. It's to, I think you go on Anchor and become a sponsor. And you can assist us in being able to get better equipment. Because right now, you guys, we're literally sitting in my GMC truck with Bluetooth on to be able to get this message out to you.
Just for you.
Just for you guys. Because we know that each one must teach one.
That's right.
And because we were granted the ability to learn how to get out of that system of being a TI and to get into the system of being a PI, we know on our hearts that it's our obligation to share this with the masses. It's our duty. Hey, like we always say,